What is your religion? What would you say? If you were being a little snarky and sarcastic, you might say, well, Father, read the room, right? We're Christians. Or maybe you're a guest with us this morning, and maybe you would claim some other title for your religion. Jewish, Muslim, or any of the many different religions in our world. Or maybe, what is actually very possible, you would say, you know, Father, I'm not really big on this whole religion thing. There's just way too much baggage there. I'm spiritual, I'm not sure about being religious. Fair enough. Regardless of what your answer is, I would propose to you this morning, I like stirring things up. I think any one of those answers is wrong. Because no matter what we say, it would be heard, interpreted, and probably meant as an expression not just of something that we believe or some community that we're part of, but religion all too often is always also about what we're not, about division, disunity, right? If you're this, then you're not that. And so we use religion to say something about how we divide ourselves or separate ourselves from others. And I would propose to you that not only today on Divine Mercy Sunday, not only today as we celebrate these wonderful sacraments, but anytime we're serious about religion, we're missing something very important. One of the origins of the word religion goes all the way back to ancient Latin. Religio. And one of the meanings of that second half of the word is the same root as ligament. Any athletes here tear a ligament in their life? Russ, you didn't raise your hand. I know you tore a ligament 2 years ago. I tore a tendon just a year ago. The word religion literally means, one of the meanings of it, literally means to re-ligament, to reunify, to heal what has been torn, to bring back together what has been ripped apart, to re-ligament the world. That's what the word means. That's why it was adopted so long ago, because it expressed the deepest ideals and the most noble goals of those who were followers and disciples of Jesus Christ. They said, we're a member of and they adopted a new word, we're a member of a religion because at the heart of who we are busy about re-healing the world, re-ligamenting the world. Anyone who knows that injury, that pain, knows things shouldn't be torn like that. This is the heart of divine mercy. This is what religion really ought to be. Right religion. Not bad religion. Oh, heavens, we have too much of that. I would propose to you this morning, as we think about divine mercy, as we think about the outpouring of divine grace upon these three wonderful young people, we need to fundamentally reorient our understanding not only of how God is at work in the world, but also the very concept of our religion. Nobody says it better than St. Paul. Anybody who's familiar with the Bible knows St. Paul often says it the best. So if I know we have somebody who got their Bible with them this morning, so I gave her a heads up. Most of us didn't bring our Bibles. We Catholics don't tend to do that. That's okay. So here's the thing. The best expression of all of this is in the opening chapter of St. Paul's letter to the Colossians. I'm going to get wound up this morning, so just hold on. St. Paul says this. This is Colossians 1:16. Paul is so amazed by who Jesus is, how Jesus is the Christ, and this incredible, massive power and glory and wonder and every superlative that we could put together to say wonderful things about Jesus. Here it is. He's trying to say it all. In Jesus Christ, all things in heaven and on earth were created. All things in heaven and on earth were created, whether they're visible or invisible. Can we see them? We can't see them. Jesus Christ still created all of them. All things have been created through him, and all things have been created for him. Well, we kind of messed that one up, right? Our sin kind of tore the ligaments of creation. Right, you know that story? You can flip to the beginning of the Bible, Genesis 3, that first story of sin, how sin enters the world and begins to tear apart. The ligaments of creation get ripped and torn, and things fall apart. We know that broken drama. We live it every day. And so mere words later, St. Paul says this. But while we know that all things were created in him, through him, and for him, we also know that in him, in Jesus Christ, all things hold together. In Jesus Christ, all things are re-ligamented. In Christ, all things are brought back together. In Jesus Christ, through him, God was pleased to reconcile all things that have been torn apart, all things that have been divided, all things that have been broken in this world, all things that have been broken in our lives. In him, all things have been brought back together. In him, all things have been reconciled. In him, through the blood of the cross, he made peace with everything. All creation that he made, he has now begun to heal. This is divine mercy. This is right religion. Let's not make the mistake of reducing divine mercy, right religion, to simple private piety where God has a response to my limited sin problems. No, it's so much bigger than that. Let's not limit divine mercy to some sort of narcissistic spirituality that says Jesus is simply here for me and to do something about my own personal picadillos and brokenness. No, it's so much more than that. Divine mercy is nothing less than right religion, where the whole world is re-ligamented, is healed, and put back right the way that it was when it was first made. This, John says in the first letter of St. John in our second reading, this is the faith that overcomes the world. This is the faith that is victorious over the world. Why? Because this is the faith that heals the world. St. Paul says in the earliest, that's Luke. St. Luke wrote Acts of the Apostles in our first reading. We hear this incredible story, this incredible testimony of the early church who were living and sharing all things in common. Those who had gave to those who didn't, and everybody was without need. There was no poor in their midst. Why? Because they had re-ligamented their relationships. Because they had put into practice this divine mercy that heals creation. They didn't limit God's mercy. They didn't limit God's religion to private narcissism or personal spirituality. It wasn't that. It was so much bigger. It was a new way way to heal the world. Notice what happened in the gospel. Jesus, ligaments torn from bones, flesh ripped from his body, healed all things in his blood. And Thomas says something deeply authentic, deeply real, and I suspect we've all known Thomas's struggle. I won't believe until I see those ligaments put back in place. I won't believe until I see a body torn apart, reconstituted. I won't believe until I see for myself the dead raised and talking and walking again. I can't accept it until I've seen the ligaments put back in place. What the cross tore apart, I have to see with my own eyes. Here I am, Jesus says to Thomas. Go so far as to probe the wound. Feel the ligaments that were torn and have been restitched and rehealed. This is the power that reconciles the world to God. This is divine mercy. This is right relationship.